Actually, oh, there we go. Okay. Welcome, everyone. I hope you guys are excited as I am for the very first online hackathon. So, it's an online safety one geared at women, right? So, just a bit about me. I am one of your hosts, Voyo, and we have another co host. Let me just see. I do not know what I'm doing just yet. Koketso. Hi, Koketso. How are you?
I'm perfectly well, thanks. And how are you, William?
I'm happy to be here. Hey, I hope you're excited to see like the wonderful things people will be coming up with. Are you excited?
Yeah, it's been a long time coming. Try to organize this thing. Finally, it's coming together. So, yeah, let's just see how people are gonna do this hackathon.
Okay. Well, can you tell us a little bit about you? Because just for the audience, just for their sake, just to get a better understanding of who Gigita is and who Vuya is before we like bamboozle them with a lot of information, right?
Yeah. All right. First and foremost, evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. I know joining us, majority of all of you guys are joining us from South Africa. I go by the name of Okezo. I am a software engineer by profession. I also am part of the GDG. Just recently joined GDG Johannesburg. But all in all, I'm just a tech fanatic. But guys, it's not about me. This is about you. But yeah. But thank you so much for inviting me on board. And basically, my role here is to just help people co-host, facilitate, and yeah, if you've got any technical questions, I'm that guy. I'm that guy.
Yeah, because I see you always on the tweets. You're doing the most. I really love the fact that you are here co-hosting with me. So for those who do not know who I am, my name is Voyo. I'm also one of the GDG co-organizers and a woman tech maker. My day job is being a cloud native engineer, so I'm a junior cloud native engineer. And sadly, we lost cookies. I don't know what happened, but okay. Yeah, so that's my day to day, and we are part of GDG Johannesburg, and we are really excited to be hosting the very first hackathon. So I know we have been pushing the YouTube streaming for quite a while, but without further ado, finally, we've got the slides, right? I think you're gonna hear a lot of Slack notifications. So sorry about that. So I think what's gonna happen is I'm gonna call my co-host on stage again, just as I'm about to go through the problem statements. Let me just quickly share my screen. Okay. So, Women's Online Safety Hackathon WASH 2021 is finally upon us. I hope you guys are excited as I am. So, for the 3rd till the 5th of December, what we have in store for you, okay, come on, click, there we go, is the code of conduct, right? So, housekeeping rules first is that this is a harassment free event and a space. So, we don't want anyone to feel uncomfortable. We do not harass anyone in the chats. So this is a very safe zone. So we do not tolerate any of those violations. So if you do and you're not sure about how the code of conduct goes at any of the GDG events, do reach out to us. We'll send you the documentation, but I believe it will be shared in the chats on YouTube. Yeah, so we'll share it in a YouTube link for you guys to go over, and it'll be in the Slack channels as well, so you guys can also go over it because Slack is another domain outside of where we are used to using things. So please just be aware of keeping things safe and harassment free. It is online safety, right? So don't be out here giving us your ID numbers. No, we will not ask for such, not yet. Okay. And then our spike is that we've got a problem statement, right? So, what is the hackathon about? The hackathon is powered by Jigsaw and Women Tech Makers. So, it's a Google initiative, of course. And we are looking, I mentioned what the hackathon is about. And we are looking at 6 problem statements, right? So this will be shared with you guys in the Slack chats. You'll be able to get context and what the problem statement is about, and the tools that are available, right? So you could be learning how to use Google Cloud tools. We'll be showing you all about Firebase and so much more, right? So I don't know if Vusi is able to do this. right? But can you please bring Koketo on stage? Is it possible? Let us see if I cannot stop sharing and try to bring him. Oh, you're here. Okay.
Hey, I'm back. I'm back.
Can you see the I'm not sure if you can see the font, the joys of working virtually, right?
Yeah,
Are
no.
you
I've got it also on my side.
Oh, okay, perfect. So let me just reshare my screen again. Sorry, folks. Uh okay. So you can go through the first problem statement, please.
All right. So, ladies, predominantly ladies and gentlemen. So, the first problem statement we're going to be talking about is called doxing, right? So, if you're not quite familiar with the term, I also just recently found out what this term means. But basically, it's just following the PII protocol, which means it's a personality identification information. So, obviously, with women that has a lot of threats online, this also involves like your name, your addresses, your cell phone numbers, your email addresses, and obviously people have various tactics in terms of how to actually manipulate or hinder your identification or your personal information off and online, right? So basically it's also quite a struggle to actually remove your PII information online, right? Because apparently, even with these tools, it seems quite expensive in that sense. So this is the first problem statement we're going to be dig. You guys can dig into and stuff like that. So other than that, we're going to be obviously asking what technologies you guys will be using, right? So the first thing is that what you guys can do is you just make sure that how you can enable a target of doxing or removing your PII from unwanted sites, right? So obviously some people will take information and post it on other platforms where you guys are not even aware of, right? And also another option is that what feature or innovation would you like to build or create for this platform so that this issue can also be addressed, right? And thirdly, obviously, you can have another option is that if you had an machine learning model to detect doxing, right? So in this case, this is where you can also show off your machine learning skills, right? So that's the first problem statement, and I think
I
Rio,
really like that. Thank you so much,
yes,
Koketo. Hey. That was very insightful because, like, as you were talking now, sorry about just jumping in like that. I literally, like, a scenario came to mind where people are crying about their Facebook accounts being hacked, right? So what you
yeah,
find is a lot of the times people put a personal information on Facebook, and then you get a disgruntled ex who will now take over and pretend
yeah,
to be you and now share very sensitive information. So you need to be very careful what you post online because once it's online, sadly, right?
yeah,
But yeah, so thank you for that. Like I didn't even know what doxing was, but like now I am getting more
yeah,
enlightened and I'm excited to see people using machine learning models. I know Google's got Auto ML as well for those of you guys that are interested in using cloud functions, for example, as part of a solution that you guys might come up with, right?
awesome.
And the next one, I hope the next one is easy because I'm reading it. Okay, cyber stalking. Cyber stalking is the use of the internet um, or other electronic means to stalk or harass an individual, right? It's a catch all term that includes targeted harassment, death threats, rape threats, and other harms. It is typically planned and sustained over a long period of time. Often it is coordinated. That's true, right? So we do know who stalkers are. Well, we don't know who stalkers are, but we do know what stalkers are, right? But when we talk about cyber stalkers or cyber stalking, we're looking at it from a digital perspective, where people leave breadcrumbs, and then you find that you get harassed, right? So you'll get death threats, rape threats, and so much more. But this is when someone is really focusing on just you and they're obsessed with whatever you've got to say or whatever in an unhealthy manner, right? And then the problem statement is that what technical solution would you build to address cyber stalking? So I would love to see the creative juices flowing. You can research, get inspiration from different places. Option one is what tool would you build to help victims of cyberstalking? What feature or innovation would you build to make cyberstalking harder to perpetrate? So that's pretty cool, right? So incognito is some of the features that we use. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with using DuckDuckGo or MetaMask, but there are steps that you can take. Where you don't leave trails or any of the cookies or any of your information online, right? So I find that if I start searching for, like, let's say a cell phone using Google Chrome, the next time I go on a different site, I get an advert about a phone that I was searching for. So what that means is, for me, or at least how I understand it, is that they are selling my information. They build a digital profile about me, and then they sell my information to the highest bidder, and that is other marketing agencies that are looking to increase sales, right? So NT spyware, yeah. So I think this is they're all interesting. We're here to like unpack them, right? But I think these are very pertinent and important topics and problem statements to solve for. The next one, go get assembly.
Right.
Take it away.
So the third problem statement we're going to be talking about is malicious distribution of images, and I think a lot of women actually can relate to this one the most, because I see that a lot of women, especially on social medias, report that the account has been duplicated, right? Meaning that they've stolen their image. So when I mean image, it means literally your image, your photos, your family photos, your cat even, or your dog, whatever. So this is particularly, focusing in terms of your actual physical photos. So this basically, it's also another a malicious way of trying to uh, bargain, as we were saying previously, that people can also just use your images, especially private and sensitive images, just to harm you, right? The whole point of this is that we are trying to protect you guys, especially the females, in terms of an online space. And obviously, we've seen numerous times where videos have been leaked, photos have been leaked, accounts have been created upon on without your concern and everything. So this is what basically malicious distribution of images is all about. And the problem statement, which is option number one, is that what tools would you build to help someone to actually help them target the malicious images that are out there without their consent, right? And second of all, we all know that prevention is better than cure, right? So how do we then prevent these measures in terms of um, having your images being distributed without your consent and so forth? And the available tools that are there, it's locked folder by obviously private images on Google Photos, right? So obviously, in this case, you just keep it safe. You can also use reporting and flows. You can have a password manager. So obviously, this is, we all know about passwords, that you never ever share your passwords, and make sure that it's only you're the only person that knows about that. You can also use end-to-end encryption, which is quite a very familiar term nowadays, especially in cybersecurity, where you have end-to-end encryption in terms of sharing your images. Right, so I'll hand it over to Vuyo and explain the next problem statement.
Thank you for that. Like, I think that this is like very interesting problem statements that people will be
Yeah.
solving for, right? So it's gonna help them really think outside the box and solve for things that are like very important. Like, imagine now you've sent out a picture to someone and that person is trying to get back at you, right? And that is very sensitive. It can deform one's image. Yeah, but I think it's good to have tools that are available to store your images in a safe manner, to make sure they're stored in the cloud and it's secure, even if it's like truth factor authentication, YubiKey vibes, you do what you need to do to protect yourself, right? Okay, so the next problem statement is the fourth one. So we are tackling harassment through allies. I hope I read that okay. So when women experience cyber violence online, they reach out to a third party for help, like their employer, a friend, or an NGO. These third party allies will take on the burden and cost of reporting harassment to platforms and law enforcement. This process is manual, laborious, psychologically distressing, and even discriminatory, at times based on who has access to resources. Many lawyers now specialize in online harassment, but their services are expensive. In addition, women usually have to report the harassment over and over to all these entities and social media platforms, which is not the best practice when dealing with trauma. This is so true. Like I think the context is so spot on, because it's like now you have to relive the trauma or explain the embarrassment or show them this, and then you're showing this person, then it's that person. So I really, the problem statements are just on point. So okay, so that is context, right? And then the problem statement is that come up with a tool that would allow third parties or individuals or organizations to protect a victim of harassment. This could be for people unaffiliated with major third parties such as NGOs or police, because sometimes you find you're arrested by a police officer. Then what happens, right? Um, who are trying to protect victims and shift the culture that makes online harassment happen. Option two, how would you automate some or all of these steps listed on the next slide necessary to stop harassment or have an image or personal information taken off the internet? So scrubbing, interesting, interesting. So we've got people, if you are into APIs and endpoints, there's some that are available. Um, it's going to be very interesting to see how people implement some of these tools that are available. So we've got iHeartMob, and a bunch of others. You can find other tools that are available for your perusal. There's a Kaggle data set that you could utilize. Yeah, so it's going to be nice. The next one. Oh, the second option. So responding to harassment may involve learning about the harassment on your own or through friends and allies, right? So understanding what the harassment is about, investigating the source of the harassment. So we're talking about design thinking. So how are you solving for the problem, right? Documenting the harassment, taking screenshots, creating a timeline, building evidence, right? So you want to build a case that'll stand in court and you don't have to explain a lot of things, right? Or evidence that they could utilize in a court of law. Taking action is removing or reporting harassing, um, on social media, contacting a school or employer if online content implicates the schooling employer, or employability of the target, reporting to law enforcement, taking legal action, so cease and desist letters, restraining orders where applicable, lawsuits against perpetrators, including, in some cases, the online service providers that create or develop the content. I think Instagram was in hot waters at some point because it's viewed as a platform where people set unrealistic goals, right? And use a lot of filters. And young girls growing up, unlike the good old days, it's very different. It's a different beast that they're dealing with. And I think it's also just important to raise awareness around child pornography, because that is something that happens all over and it needs to be nipped in the bud. Okay, so the next one, problem statement number 5. Go get
Right.
to.
So this is where I pick up. So problem statement number 5, basically it's a piggyback on problem statement number 4, right? So number 4, obviously, first couple of slides, we're focusing specifically on different types of attacks, right? And so forth. But however, there is also a need to equip women around the world with more tools, right? Because I mean, we're living in a digital age, and this is quite tricky for especially women that are not even uh, tech savvy, kind of a thing. So another thing what we need to do, and that I also spoke about, is this the previous slides we're talking about APIs and so forth, which is really really cool. I'm very quite interested to see how people use APIs to actually solve a problem. But um, as I always say, I like saying this this quote that says prevention is always better than cure, right? So to prevent all of these measures, before obviously, we were talking about being harassed by different types of people where you try to get help and so forth. So obviously we are trying to make sure that everybody is quite safe online. So the problem statement here is that what are the preventative steps for women that can take to stay safe online, right? So this is, I think this is more of like an open case where it's a free for all in terms of other ways that you guys can actually contribute or think of that we haven't really covered in the scope. And also, more than anything, how do we then audit the present account or data to minimize future risk? We spoke about people being harassed, people being bribed, people even being sold online. So these are the kind of things you guys should really think about in terms of coming up with your solutions. Um, yeah, so from my side, it's you know, especially in women nowadays, that we suffer from a lot of GBV and even human trafficking. It is very, very important that people really understand the digital footprint, which is basically your actual being. That please be careful in terms of the content that you share and so forth, because as we said, once it's out there, it's out there, and when it's out there, it's the chances of it being there forever is literally being forever, right? People always make duplicates, people always back up things, people always hack things. So these are also preventative methods in terms of how can we prevent such things that can actually happen, right? So, and available tools is it's iheartmob.org. Over to you, Will.
Thank you. Yeah, so I feel like the problem statements that are being raised here are so valid, and like thank you for sharing, and I'm glad that you'll be helping people out with like APIs. So I'm excited. So if y'all want to automate
Yes.
things, play around with some Terraform, um, we were actually trying some stuff with Golang at work. So it'll be interesting. So whoever needs help, we are here to assist. The mentors are here, but we'll get into that in a bit, right? And then we've got last but not least, managing harassment. So, context is what is a good way to think about the needs of targets of harassment before, during, and after the harassment, and equipping them at each of these stages, right? So, we're looking at the different stages of when, during, before, during, and after harassment, right? So this is going back to you with prevention is better than cure, but also being able to educate people. And how do you continue to educate people while they're being harassed and even after the fact? So that's pretty cool. So, after experiencing undone harassment, many feel overwhelmed, scared, angry, and embarrassed. In these situations, it is important for women to remember it is not their fault or their responsibility to fix it, right? But we are like the ones trying to fix it. So that's pretty cool. So, problem statement. So, option one, what are the needs of the targets of harassment at these three stages? Option number two, what should be designed for each of these three stages? So we've got iHeartMob again, self care for people experiencing harassment, ihollaback.org. So it's pretty cool. So it's gonna shape your narrative on what tools you guys come up with. Who knows, you guys could even start your own organization or website that could
Yeah.
bring so much value to so many people. And then we have our sponsors. So without these people, none of the things that you will be receiving uh, would be possible, right? So we've got offers in. So massive shout out to our sponsors. We have offers in. They'll be giving away some cool stuff to our participants. So I'm excited. And then we've got Google. So Women Tech Maker obviously is a subsidiary of it. They are also one of our awesome sponsors. BBD is going to help us with some sponsorship stuff too. So I'm very excited. You guys are going to get some awesome stuff. We've got Container Solutions. I see it. Okay, it's Container Solutions. And then they'll be assisting us with giving you guys some awesome vouchers. I don't want to get into too much detail, right? Because we are live. A lot of the things we're going to be posting on Slack. So if you are registered for the event, then you'll definitely know what are these vouchers, what is this swag she's talking about, right? And we've got a cybersecurity company called BitCrack, and they're also going to give away awesome prizes. And then we've got Microsoft who'll be giving us some swag. So I can tell you this: you will not go cold, you will not go hungry, and your pockets will not be empty. And that is what I'm going to say. Okay. So when it comes to our reach, we had a nice little conversation about this. So our reach is actually very wide for this very first hackathon. Um, We've got mentors from Brazil. We've got sponsors from the UK, the US, from the Netherlands, and we have an audience also from Africa. So I understand that quite a few people are struggling with getting onto Slack. So we just need to um, help people get on Slack. The YouTube video link will be available again for you guys to watch. But we've got participants from all over the country. The stats is pretty. So I think I now appreciate dear data and beautiful data. So we had a lot of entries for this hackathon, a lot of them from Southern Africa, as it is the first women's online safety hackathon event that we have. We also have audiences from Austria. And then a little bit about the team. We have mentors and we have the organizers. So the mentors are going to be available throughout the event, and as well as the organizers. We have Chasney, we have Axel, we have Rodrigo, we have Coffee, Oliver, and a bunch of other people that I have sadly neglected to add on the slide. So my apologies for that. And then we have our organizers as your co-host. We have Koketo and myself as the organizers, Vusi, Julie, Michelle, Putano. So there's a lot of people in the background that I couldn't obviously fit all in one slide, right? And then, so what's going to happen next? So y'all wondering what's coming up next. So we're going to have team formation. We've got a Slack channel called Team Formation. So if you could please join that channel if you do not have a team yet. Even if you have a team, we've got a fun little exercise as a nice little icebreaker for you guys to join in and get to know each other a bit better. If you have any questions, pop it, send a direct message to either me, the mentors, or just pop it in the. I'm not sure if it should go in the announcements, but I'm sure there's a support channel. So just pop it into support and then we'll answer your question. Then you could grab something to eat. Obviously, this is a virtual event. So for now, go to your kitchen and go grab something to eat there. And then the hacking will begin, right? So without further ado, may the code be with you. And last but not least, I want to thank you guys for taking the time to actually attending this hackathon. It is our first attempt as the GDG Johannesburg and Women Tech Maker. And I hope you guys enjoy the next couple of days. We will be having sessions online. So this is just the opening session. We'll be having more session using Google Meets. So everything is going to be on Slack. If you have any questions, queries, we'll be answering questions in the comment section. I don't know, Koketo, do you have something you want to add or subtract? Yeah, or
Yeah,
swipe?
so from my side, as a code mentor, as a code advocate, the most important thing that you guys need to understand is that please, please, please make sure that you have fun, and please make sure you ask questions if you still lost about how to tackle a problem, or you want us to really explain what problem statements are. We are here to help you, right? So help us so that we can help you so that you guys can succeed in this hackathon. As I said, guys, the most important thing is have fun, have fun, have fun, have fun. And yeah,
Yes.
that's it from my
Okay.
side.
And then I think I just want to maybe add, but you'll see this in the Slack channels. If you're not following us already on Twitter, please do because we're very active there. So just follow GDG Johannesburg on Twitter and a bunch of other hashtags. So throughout the hackathon, there will be awesome spot prizes. So I don't want to give away too much, but we will talk in the Slack channels. So just stay tuned in there, stay online. I will be hacking with you. Well, I'm not hacking with you, but I'm here to help y'all hack throughout the entire weekend. Okay, so I think it is a wrap for the opening ceremony, and I hope you guys are excited and ready.
Are
And
you
let the
excited
hack.
and ready for
Sorry.
Are you excited and ready?
Oh, I am so ready. Like I cannot wait. I'm really excited about that. Like I love hackathons so much that I think geek culture at some point was like, okay, wait, when are you gonna stop with the hackathons? So
Oh,
I really enjoy hackathons, and I think it'll be so lovely to see what comes out, the little bit of nuggets that we'll be giving people from design thinking to using Git. There's a
yeah, yeah.
whole itinerary ready for people, and we can't wait to learn and grow with people, right? Um, so yeah, you'll see the problem statements are flying, Slack is buzzing. I hope y'all are ready, cause I'm ready. Are you ready, Koketo?
As for me, stays being ready.
Hey, okay, so I will see you guys on the Slack channels. Stay tuned. If you have any questions, pop them in there, pop them in the comments. I'm not sure if we'll be reading any comments right now, but what is the hashtag? Okay, so I see Shandu's asking what are the hashtags that we can use on Twitter. Thank you, Busi. We see you're on the point. Okay, so we will be posting the hashtags in the Slack channels. So the various rooms will have various hashtags, and you'll see there's so much in store. We've got badges up for grabs, spot prizes. I said you will not go hungry. I said you will not go cold. So we've got a
And
lot in store for you guys, right?
don't leave
So I
your
think
pocket.
yes, I see a lot of comments from GDG. Carla, shout out, shout out. Okay, so we've got Carla in the building as well, from Container Solutions, one of our sponsors. I see GDG, Tabang. Sadly, I can't see the other people. Huitimang, welcome. Happy, Julie, Stephen, Monique, Robin. We see you guys. Okay, thank you so much. Do pop the questions in the Slack channels. You'll see the Slack channels are available. We've got one more comment. Okay, thank you. I can't wait. Good vibes. Good vibes all the way, Sissy. Okay, have a good one. And it's a wrap from us.
All right, take care, everyone.
Okay, bye.
Bye.